Hi, everyone. Hi, Sharon. How are you? Give everybody a couple minutes to join us. Hopefully, have some people that sorry, I'm having another bad hair day. Want to hear some information about panic attacks and how to stop them? Hi, Tracy. How are you? I watched your introduction video yesterday, Tracy. It was great. Good job. It's difficult being on that side of the on this side of the camera, right? Hi, Sharon. So how's your Mondays going? You did a fantastic job, Tracy. Nothing for you to be nervous about. That's good, Sharon. I'm happy to hear that. I have to say I'm feeling a little antsy today. I have this little code system that I've developed, shall we call it, sort of like on a scale or like a pain scale, when someone says, how much pain are you in? You're in a 2 or a 4 or an 8 or whatever the case may be. So sometimes I'll say that I'm antsy. And that's usually just a code for, like, I'm feeling nervous and I'm fighting it, but I'm not really sure why. And I can normally go about my business and do what I need to do. When it goes up a notch, I'll call it panicked. I'm panicked or I'm panicking. And that's usually a good time to sort of, let me try to do what I need to do in terms of trying to sit still and be quiet and sort of, do some grounding, some journaling, some distracting, that kind of thing. And then if I'm nervous, that means that I've been fighting it for a couple of days. And so I use these code words with my husband or my family, to sort of let them know that, something's happening and I'm not really sure what or whatever, wherever I'm at in the course of things. It's a little system that we've developed that seems to work really well. So that's a great thing. So I'm just shuffling up some oracle cards here. I had done a video on panic attacks, and someone had asked a question about, what was my best advice. Hi, JR. Well, I'm glad that you were at least able to pop in for a moment. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. They were asking what my best advice was for someone who, wanted to stop a panic attack. And I told them that I would post up a separate video for that, which is what today's video is about. So I just want to, put it out there in case anyone's listening. I am not a mental therapist. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist. I am, just an individual who experiences these things, and these are my personal experiences that I share in hopes that, if you're going through it, someone that's going through it, that you have some tools and tips that might be able to help. So first of all, when you go into a panic attack, it is an extremely scary feeling. I used to have about 6 to 8 panic attacks a day when I was first diagnosed, and um, like they're just the scariest thing, and I mean, they're scary. You literally feel like you're gonna die, and I, I know that people have mistaken panic attacks for a heart attack. Um, your every person who has anxiety panic disorder, their signs and symptoms are very different, and but our experience of the actual panic attack itself is all the same, meaning it's scary. So signs and symptoms that when you're in a panic attack, or that a panic attack is on its way, is not, you don't get a forewarning that might last you for, an hour. It's usually like a second if you're lucky. And panic attacks can last anywhere from, a couple of minutes, to a half an hour when you're in the actual panic attack itself. So symptoms of a panic attack, or what you will experience while you're in a panic attack, you could shake uncontrollably, sweating. For me personally, my throat closes up and I can't speak. Feeling upset stomach, feeling lightheaded, dizzy, unsteady on your feet. I wrote some things down so I don't forget anything. Chest pain, and heart palpitations. It sort of, for my personal experiences, feels like a vine that sort of uh, starts at my toes and wraps all around me, and I just feel very constricted. Um, and quite often, when I used to experience panic attacks, so often, double touch wood, that I haven't had one since 2014. I would always have a bottle of water beside me, a can of pop, and either a piece of bread in a baggie that was buttered, or a row of crackers. So I would drink the water for hydration and to wet my mouth, because my mouth would go very dry, and of course, as I said, my throat would close up. I would eat the crackers to sort of reduce the gas feeling in my stomach, and I would drink the pop to sort of help with the gassy feeling. Hi, Kevin. Hi, False Teeth Real Tarot. So, and I would have those like on standby. If I went in a car, if I went to someone's house, they would always be in my purse or in my bag or whatever, so that I could pull those out and kind of like do what I needed to do to be able to get through it. So how you stop a panic attack? There are many, many, many theories out there, and I think it's very important for anyone who is experiencing anxiety, to seek medical attention when you first are aware that something is happening to you. You're not really sure what it is. That your medical professional will probably send you to a therapist or a psychiatrist, someone of that nature, and they will assist you with CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. There are different forms of anxieties. There's social anxiety, there's anxiety panic disorder, there's general anxiety. So, the doctor and the therapist or the psychiatrist, or a combination of those people, will put you in the right program that is best for you. That could include medications. It could include like the CBT that I spoke about. There's many different forms and formulas that are used for individuals. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that. So, if you know anyone or you're experiencing it yourself, please don't try to, diagnose yourself, and please don't ignore it. So you're having a panic attack, or you're about to have a panic attack. These are some things that you can do to help yourself. Number one, you can try the breathing technique. So this is a proven technique that is used by, like I said, doctors or therapists or psychiatrists. There are many different variations of how long you inhale, how long you hold, and how long you exhale. And I would go so far as to say that I think that that's probably like a personal thing, meaning what works for you, right? So basically, it's like breathe in through your mouth for about 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever the case may be. Hold for 3 or 4 or 5. It should be the same number as for the breath in. And then breathe out slowly through your mouth. And the reason that you're doing that is because you're trying to stop your heart from beating so fast. And you're trying to bring yourself back into control. Centering yourself basically is what you're trying to do. So that is one technique that is used to stop people from having a panic attack, or to stop a panic attack from going, longer than it needs to go. There is another technique that is referred to as the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Number 5 is 5 things that you can see. So you're in the panic and you look around and you pick out 5 things that you can see, so the clock on the wall, the cat or the dog, the television, the chair, that type of an idea. And then it's 4 things that you can touch. So I can touch the chair fabric, I can pet the cat, I can touch the remote control for the television. You get the idea. Number 3 is 3 things that you can hear. So I can hear the TV, right? I can hear the dog or the cat, barking or meowing or whatever the case may be. I can hear the cars driving by outside. Number 2 is 2 things that you can smell. So, maybe you're cooking dinner or you have a candle burning or something of that nature. And then the last one is 1 thing that you can taste. And that is very difficult because, as I said, like for me specifically, my throat closes up. So there's no tasting involved. I can't speak. So you could think of a thing that you enjoy the taste of. So perhaps you like chocolate, right? And again, just like the breathing technique, you're trying to bring your mind out of the panic and put it back into reality by noticing the things around you and using your other senses to sort of center yourself again, right? There is meditation, obviously, which is extremely helpful if you are able to shut your mind down or at least slow it down. There's also a tapping technique that I was taught. So there is a vega nerve that is in your brain, and it pretty much spreads out through your whole body. And this technique seems a little odd, but I assure you it works. So you start off very lightly with your fingertips right on your high cheekbone, underneath your sinuses, and you're not smacking yourself. You're just very lightly tapping. And you can do this for as long as you need to. You can sort of, build a little system, if you will, so like count of 20, right? You don't have to say anything. You just be very quiet. You could also do the breathing exercise while you're doing this, right? Because the object of the game is to slow your mind down, bring your breathing to a regular rate, and bring your mind back into the realistic situation that you're actually in, not the fearful situation that you're trying to avoid, right? So count of 20 here. Right there on the cheekbones, just lightly tapping. You don't have to pinch yourself or hurt yourself in any way. Okay, then you go here to like your collarbone, and again, just lightly tapping. Hi, Vivian. Lightly tapping for a count of, 15 or 20 should do it. Now, if you're right-handed, you put your right hand over your heart. And if you're left-handed, you put your left hand over your heart. I'm right-handed. So I just make a very small little fist, not tight, very, very light tapping on your heart for another count of 20. Now, I don't know if you guys can see me, but right sort of where your rib cage sits, you're lightly tapping there for a count of 20. And once you've repeated that cycle, you're finished, and then you can sort of start again. And you do that as long as necessary, as well as doing the breathing. And it will bring you back to center and calm your mind down, hopefully, right? So those are the techniques that I know that are out there. If you look on the internet, if you speak to a medical professional, if you speak to a psychiatrist or a therapist, I also do visualization, and I explain that in another video. But very quickly, because I'm right-handed, I take my right hand, I close it into a fist with my thumb up. I'm gonna sort of stand up a bit here so that you can see me. I put my thumb right underneath my breastbone, and I go down towards my navel in a very steady rhythm. So if you're imagining, and for me, I actually do those breathing sounds out loud like that, like a sort of like a heavy exhale, if you will. And I find that rhythm helps me to sort of calm myself down and get myself in some sort of flow, if you will. And then I go into my visualization technique, where I sort of transport myself from the moment to my happy place, which is outside. So I imagine, the sun and the trees and the birds. And I'll do that for as long as necessary. And the whole time, doing that rubbing sensation, which keeps my breathing controlled. So I hope that helps, and I hope that answered the question. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to the next little thing I just wanted to mention? I'm just reading Tracy's comment here. Witness a very serious attack once. Yeah, Tracy, I've had. I haven't had a panic attack where it appeared to be like a heart attack, but I had an attack. Well, I've had several in a public place, but one in particular where I had called my husband, and my husband called into my work because I was sitting in the parking lot, and the receptionist came out, and when she seen me, she started to cry because it scared her. That's not a great feeling. For her or for me, right? To break up energy, to move the mind into a calming thought. Yeah, no, absolutely. The whole idea of anxiety, and this is very difficult for people to understand. And I'll be honest, when I was first diagnosed with anxiety, panic disorder, and depression, and I spoke about this on Allie's show. So I had, a panic attack. I was taking down the Christmas tree. I was singing Christmas music. I was fine. And the next minute, I thought I was going to pass out. I thought I was dying. Like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't swallow. It was awful. And now I'm scared, right? Now I'm petrified. Like now I can't even be in my house by myself. I'm afraid to go up the stairs. I'm afraid to have a shower. The list goes on and on, right? My husband comes home from work, and he sits on the couch, and he looks at me like I'm a little child. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, now he's genuinely concerned about me, and he wants to help me. I don't know how to help myself, so I don't know how to tell you how to help me in the beginning of what was happening to me, right? I didn't understand it myself. There are times now when I still don't understand it myself. So it's very difficult when you don't understand what's happening to you to be able to then explain to someone else how they might be able to assist you. So when you see someone, or if you know someone, that's going through that, don't really ask them like, hey, are you okay? Just relax, just calm down. It's not that kind of a thing. Anxiety is based on fear. We have this like impending sense of doom, the proverbial, gray or black cloud that follows you. That is how I operate 24/7, with this impending sense of doom and fear, which is not based in anything real, right? And so when I'm feeling that impending sense of doom, my mind is not, on the TV program I'm watching, because, maybe I'm watching a movie, like about an airplane. Someone's on a plane going somewhere, and all of a sudden, like, my fear of flying pops in my mind, and before I know it, I'm in the plane, I've crashed, I'm in flames, I'm dying, and I'm in a panic attack, or darn close to it, like it's knocking on my door. That's what drives anxiety, and it's very difficult for other people to understand it. Hi, Janet. So when you have anxiety, and because you walk around with this impending sense of doom, you create all kinds of phobias. And any phobias and or fears that you have are now heightened. I mean, to almost like the ridiculous, right? So fear of fires, fear of car accidents, fear of flying, fear of heights, in closed spaces. Now you're in it. This is actually a term. It's called white coat syndrome. So you're afraid to go. That's doctors, right? You can develop agoraphobia, which fear of leaving your house, which is what I have. You avoid restaurants, shopping malls, elevators, in any kind of enclosed space, or big space, or lots of people, for fear of being judged, or fear of being ridiculed, or fear of having a panic attack and not being in your safe space. There is really nothing that you can do for the fears and the phobias to lessen them, and unless you do the other work that I mentioned in the beginning, where you seek out medical attention, you seek out a therapist, you have a support group around you, like your circle of friends, your tribe, whatever you want to refer to them as, where you can be honest, and it's imperative that you are honest, and that you communicate how you're feeling and what's going through your mind and what your thoughts are. You could be suppressing something that happened to you in your childhood. It could be because you have PTSD. It could be because you witnessed something, and you weren't even aware that you witnessed it. Maybe you had a flash in a dream. It could be the loss of a loved one. Maybe you've had, like the worst year that you've ever had, and just all these things dumped on you, and you just went, and that's what happened to me. And again, I don't want to be repeating myself, but what I had said in the beginning, my first video that I did about panic attacks, when you see someone in a panic attack, or if you know someone or you live with someone that has anxiety panic disorder, please don't tell them to relax. It's not that kind of a thing. I personally get really excitable when someone says, "Oh, just relax," or like snap out of it. It's not that kind of a situation. Basically, I mean, and everybody is different, right? Everyone has their own thing. So for me, I want to know that someone's around, but don't. I want you to talk to me, but don't make me talk back to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't ask me any questions. Just sort of let me know that you're there. Like, maybe someone's in the living room and you're in the bedroom, kind of idea. Like, you're not alone, so you're okay if you need any help. But don't, like, are you okay? Are you all right? Can I do anything? Do you want anything? Do you need anything? Like, don't do that, right? Because all you're doing even though you're really, really trying to help and you're being the kind-hearted, loving person, what you're doing is pointing out to the person who's, about to panic or has just had a panic attack, flashing red light, something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you. And that's exactly what you're trying to avoid. You're trying to make them come back to center and realize that the reality is not at all the way that they've created the danger situation in their brain, if that makes sense. I don't know that I'm doing a very good job explaining it, but I hope that that's understandable. What else? I have a couple of things written down here. So I want to make sure that I didn't forget anything. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I think that I've covered everything. So I just wanted to mention this, and I share this because this is part of my enlightenment, my awakening, my journey. I haven't left my house in a very long time. I have created a safety bubble around myself where I don't have to go outside, and I'm very fortunate and lucky that I'm able to do that, right? Because I realize that not everyone's in that position. So I've created a safety bubble around myself, and I don't leave my home. I mean, I go outside in the front yard or in the backyard, but I don't leave my home. Maybe I'll drive to the park, but those occasions are very, very few and far between. So all of a sudden one day I was sitting outside, because that'll happen to me. I will sort of, I feel the nervousness, and I don't really know why I'm feeling nervous. And I've been fighting it for 2 days or all day, and it's just enough. I can't deal with it anymore. And so I'll step outside and get some fresh air. I find that going out in nature really, really helps to ground me. And so, thank you, Tracy. So I went out and I sat on the front porch. It was about 12 o'clock at night. I think it was a Saturday or a Friday night. And I was sitting out on the porch. I love that time of night. Everything is calm, everything is quiet, or relatively so. And, it was summertime, and the sky was, a beautiful blue, and there were stars everywhere. And I sort of get lost in that, and I was staring up and not really thinking anything. And all of a sudden I started to cry. I wasn't sobbing, but the tears were coming down my face. And sorry, this is going to make me emotional, so forgive me. But all of a sudden I was like, what have I done? This bubble that I have created for myself to keep myself safe has stopped me from living my life. And so the exact thing that I was thinking that I was helping is actually hurting me. And the things that I was avoiding, I now can't do because of the pandemic. Now, yes, the realization of that was emotional, and it makes me emotional just thinking about that moment in time. But I'm so grateful that I had that moment, because I decided in that moment, I am the only person that has the power to change this. I have to figure out a way, to put one foot in front of the other and move forward. I have to, because if I don't, I'm probably not going to last very long. My muscles are weak because I don't move. So and I'm getting older, and it's just I'm depressed all the time. My circle is this big. And it's, I have no oxygen, I have no fresh air, I have nothing to speak about. Even if I had 100 friends that called me every day, I wouldn't have anything to say, because I don't do anything. I don't communicate with anybody. I don't have any experiences to talk about or share. And so in that moment, I realized oh my God, like I did this. I did this to myself, trying to protect myself. And now look at the mess that I've created. Now, I wish I could give you some great story that I, jumped off my chair and went, okay. No, I didn't do that. I knew that it wasn't going to be easy and that every day was going to be a challenge, but I made a pact with myself that I would try. I would try. And I don't put huge expectations on myself, because if I do and I fail, that is not good for the anxiety. So maybe you might say to yourself, well, I'm going to go outside today and I'm going to spend 15 minutes. And then tomorrow I'm going to go outside and I'm going to spend half an hour. By the end of the week, I'm going to be out there for 2 hours, kind of idea. I can't do that. I say, tomorrow I'm going to go outside. That's my goal. I don't give it a time frame. I don't give it a limit. I don't try to future plan, because if I future plan, I will talk myself right out of it. I will think of everything that could go wrong, every reason why it will not work, and I will talk myself right out of it, because I will put all of my fears into my head, and that is all I can see. And so I take it one step at a time. I give myself a very small goal, and then I celebrate the bejeebers out of it, right? Like, woohoo, I went outside. I feel so good. Look at my little red nose, because it's cold. Or, I talk about, oh, look at the trees and the animal, like whatever it is, I celebrate the crap out of it. Because that's what's empowering, right? That is what is empowering, because I am forcing myself not in a negative way, to recognize the beauty of the outside world, not the fears of the outside world. And so I went outside the next day, and then maybe the next day I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go outside a little bit earlier. So every day I set a new little goal for myself, and, I'm here. And, I have good days and I have not so good days. But I will tell you that when I was first diagnosed, I used to have, good moments, meaning minutes or maybe hours. Now I have good days. I have good weeks. I have good weeks. I have weeks that go by when I'm fine. That's something, that's progress. That's power. That's something to celebrate. That's an accomplishment. That's an achievement. And that's how I have to look at it. And so, I hope by me sharing that with, anyone who's listening now, or anyone who's going to listen to this possibly in the future, that helps you if you're going through it. If you know someone who's going through it, if you live with someone who's experiencing it, you as the person who's experiencing it, be kind to yourself. You're not alone. There's always someone to help you and support you. You do have to reach out and ask for the help, and you will get it. And you, as the supporter, need to understand that the person is scared beyond anything that you could possibly imagine. Any idea that you might have in your head is not at all what they're experiencing. It is like 10 times worse than what you think it could be. That's how they're feeling. So don't ask them to relax. Don't tell them to calm down. Don't try to tell them a joke and make them laugh. Take your cues from them and just let them know that you're there. And eventually, with the help of a therapist, a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, and a medical doctor, you will find the right tips, the right tricks, the right possibly medications, whatever the right course is for you, to help you move forward. And that is really what it's about. It's about moving forward, right? Like in anything that we do in life, You try to put one foot in front of the other and move forward. That's the most important thing about anxiety. All right, I'm going to just take a breath. I've been talking a lot. Look, my little ears are red. See, that's a really good sign that Kelly is anxious because my ears are red. Okay. I'm just reading your comment here, Tracy. Yes, and the one that I witnessed, I was called to come help. By the time I got there, the person was beyond those techniques. Yeah. Oxygen, sit with him calmly. Thanks, Tracy. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's you know what? I mean, I don't know what's worse, watching someone go through it or going through it yourself, like honestly, because if you love someone and or you care for them and you're watching them, and you can't help them, or you don't know how to help them, or you don't know if it's really working, it's you take that personally, you know what I mean? And if you're going through it, you just want it to stop. So thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. You're like my cheerleader today. I appreciate it. So how about we switch gears for a minute, because, well, let's switch gears for a long minute. I have to tell you that there are times when I can talk about it and I'm okay, and then there's times when I can't, when I talk about it and it makes me like I'm getting antsy. Oh, here's something else I was going to mention. See what I'm drinking here? Things, if you have anxiety, to avoid. Are you ready? So avoid caffeine, avoid alcohol, and avoid smoking. Any one of those or a combination of those increases your anxiety level a lot. Try to have a balanced diet. Try to do some form of daily exercise. Be outside in nature. Going for a drive is great because you're seeing the scene, and that invokes happy thoughts and happy images, but it's not the same as going for a walk in the fresh air, right? And it is a proven scientific fact that I believe it's 90 minutes outside will reduce someone's stress level. So, and to try to always practice some sort of a mindfulness technique, like meditation or journaling, positive self-talk or self-affirmations, that maybe you have them on a wall, perhaps a vision board, could be beneficial to you. Things of that nature. Like I said, celebrate the small things, and the more that you celebrate the small things, the more the small things become the bigger things, and the fear becomes the little thing, if that makes sense. And I also, I don't know that this is proven or not proven, but, and we've spoken about this before. I find my pets are extremely helpful in keeping me calm. They always seem to know when something's not, like when I'm not okay, and they come, and there's something, as I was mentioning in one of the techniques about touch. They always come and they'll lay on my lap, my cats, and there's something about the smooth motion, or I guess it's the smooth motion of petting them, or stroking their fur in a very sort of methodical way. The warmth of them. Specifically with a cat, the way that they purr, so they're warm, their bodies are warm, they purr, and you can feel that little vibration, and then the methodical stroking of them sort of distracts you enough to sort of calm you down, if if I articulated that well. So does anyone have any questions, or does anyone want to talk about anything? Oh, JR. Yeah. Do you, was it a panic attack that you were having, JR? I've said this before, like, it's not for the weak. I mean, it is scary stuff. I'm sorry, JR. I do have an interesting story, sort of odd. So shortly after my mother died, my husband and I used to participate in a classic car show, shall we call it that? And I had gone to the show, and I had my own car, and my husband had his, and we were driving back. And while I was driving the car, like, it was working on me, and I could feel it. And I was just like, oh, like another 50 miles to go. We're going to be home. I'm going to be fine. You're okay. You're fine. And it just got to the point where I was like, I can't drive anymore. I need to get off the road. And we were very close to my sister's house. In typical Kelly fashion, because I don't just show up and go, hey, I pulled up to my sister's house, basically like, every episode of like Cops and Robbers kind of TV show that you've seen, where you like, pull up the car and you don't close the door, you just like jump out. That's what I did. Went into my sister's, and I'm like shaking at this point, and I'm like, oh my God, I need water. And like, she's looking at me like, what's happening? Right? Like, there was no like hello. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, okay, get me water. And I had like shorts on or something. I had to undo my pants, and because I feel nauseous now, my throat's starting to close up, and the whole family's like going, what is happening? Right? So I did that for like a half an hour. I didn't even say anything to my poor sister when I showed up on her doorstep like that. And my sister had company. Had no idea. And so now the company is like, what's going on? Right? And someone that was company at my sister's house went and sat out the front step, which is where I was sitting. And they started talking to me. And I was trying to like, snap it together. And they just, I don't know that they recognized or realized that I was like hiding it, or they just weren't paying attention or whatever. So anyways, they keep talking to me, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Because I can't really snap out of it yet, if you know what I mean. But I'm trying. And then my sister came out and sat with us. And my sister said, well, this person, we'll call her Sally, has been having a really hard time. She's been quite anxious. And my sister has anxiety. And then my sister got up and she left. And me and that person sat there for the next hour and talked. And I ended up being her shoulder. And she was mine. And I was fine. And so was she. And so it's another example of, distract and bring your mind back to real reality. And I was okay, even though I was sitting on the front step with my pants undone. I was okay. So I thought that was kind of a cute story. So, oh, school was a trigger for you? I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, like I said earlier, I had one in the parking lot at work, and people were driving in and beeping the horn and waving, and it was awful. Because you don't want anyone to see you like that, right? Yeah, you're absolutely right, JR. Sometimes all you need is someone to talk to, you know. And it's funny, you could have 80 people around you, but not everybody can connect with you. So if you're lucky enough to have that person, someone that you can really connect to, and someone who really gets you, that's most important, for sure. What do you say we pull an oracle card? What do you say? I have the language of color. And one of the reasons why I chose the language of color oracle card is because I find that there's a lot of really deep messages in the guidebook to these colors that could be beneficial to some of the things that we've been talking about today. Well, JR, I'm very glad that one of the things that you said was that you knew what your trigger was. I don't know what your opinion is of that. I know other people that have anxiety who they find it very helpful that they know what their trigger is. I know a few of my triggers. I don't know all of my triggers. And I'll be honest, I've been asked, by the therapist or whatever, let's figure them out. And I find that more stressful sometimes, and that causes me anxiety because I don't know, like, why. It's just happening, and so I get stressed out trying to figure it out. Like, there's a certain point in time when I think to myself, like, okay, and I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do. I'm just saying that this is what I did. So I'm just going to avoid that because I can't figure it out, right? There are so many people in this world that suffer, and we have no idea, right? Suffer behind closed doors, and we have no idea. And when you speak about it, when you help another person, when you support someone, stranger in a supermarket, family member, co-worker, schoolmate, on a YouTube channel, in a lovely community full of, people that are so kind and so compassionate and so loving. You make a massive difference in not only the person that you're directing your message to, but anyone who might be within earshot, right? Someone who's going to see this in the future, or any of the chats that we're in, right? It's amazing. It is amazing, the power of words, and the power of communication, and the power of love, and the power of sharing, right? I mean, because, if we can't count on each other to sort of hold each other's hands and lift each other up, it's pretty sad, right? And I can tell you that, just like what Tracy's been doing and what JR is doing, JR sharing in the chat, and Tracy's lifting JR up with celebrating the achievement and the bravery. And one of the things that anyone who has any, I don't care what it is, you have a broken leg, you got a bad haircut, you wear very thick glasses, and maybe you have braces. Well, whatever it is that makes you feel like you stand out from everyone else, you can treat as an obstacle, or you can view it as an obstacle. If if that's the mindset that you're in. And when you get in that mindset, you become extremely negative. And when you navigate the negative space and the negative headspace, that is when you develop depression, fears, phobias, judgment, and it's difficult to pull yourself out of that. Difficult. And it's not only difficult to pull yourself out, but it's also difficult to recognize, that you have flaws and that it's okay. Nobody really ever tells you that your flaws are okay or that your flaws are unique to you. We only ever view flaws as a negative. It's not good. Yes, Tracy, absolutely. Thank you for sharing, JR. You know what, JR? I'm this isn't easy for me to talk about, but no one's ever accused me of being quiet. I got a big mouth. What can I say? I like to talk. And, if someone's listening and I can help them or make them feel better about what they've gone through, or if it's just therapeutic for me, it's all good, right? It's all good. If I could send you a giant hug, JR, let's have a virtual hug, shall we? Everybody reach out your arms. Virtual hug. Ooh, squeeze. Oh. All right, let's pull a card, shall we? You guys tell me when to stop before I wear the colors right off these cards. Oh, thank you, Sharon. All right, tell me when to stop. I'll be sitting here at 7 still shuffling. You guys are waiting until they all fall on the floor, right? Anytime. Whoa. Did you see that? We almost had an upset right there. All right, you guys aren't going to cooperate. Oh, thanks, JR. Thank you. I was just like, what? Okay. Oh, what a lovely color. Look at that. Now, what does that make you think of? Like when you look at that color, what does that make you think of? I think of like it makes me think of Christmas, and I know that sounds weird, but it's like, that cinnamony kind of syrup that you put over, sweets when you're making them, or it makes me think of the fireplace roaring on a really, really cold, snowy winter's day. Beautiful card. Oh, that's really good, Tracy. I like that you said warmth and art. I like that. All right, so it says, Amber, awaken your creativity. So look at you with the art. You're so intuitive, Tracy. So I'm going to, the number on the card for the people that are into numerology is 15. It is soothing, right, Jara? Absolutely. And I like honey. Honey's good. Okay, so this is what the guidebook has to say about this lovely card. It says, Amber is a fantastic color for increasing your creativity and strengthening your manifestation abilities. It generates deeper bonds in relationships and teaches you how to give and receive affection, warmth, Optimism, courage, and spontaneity are among Amber's gifts. Wear amber to awaken your creative talents and abilities. Awesome card. And what were we doing today? What are we doing today? We're sharing. We're all being courageous. We're all being brave. We're embracing each other. We're loving each other. And now we feel all warm and fuzzy because Sharon just sent us all big hugs. And we thank her. That's awesome. Yes, big hugs back to you, Sharon. All right. Now, I have the following decks. You guys tell me which ones you want. I have these little chakra love cards. I have the Soul's Journey cards. And I have the Guiding Light Oracle, which are massive. Look at the size of these compared to my hand. Which one do we want? I'm thinking you guys are going to tell me the Guiding Light. Oh, Soul's Journey? Absolutely. Because I can shuffle those. Thank you, Tracy. Bless you. All right, let's pull a card for the collective. Let's see what we got today. I really like the colors on these cards. I love them, but I find them a little bit sticky. I guess I need to just sit and shuffle with them, or shuffle them a little more. All right, here we go. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Freedom. And is that not what we're talking about? Freedom from judgment, freedom from fear, freedom from ridicule, the freedom to live your life as you want and not be controlled by something else. Like you said, Tracy, or sorry, it was JR that said it. The cards don't lie. Freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. I'm telling you. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Spirit is talking to us today. Well, it's funny that you should mention Aquarius, Tracy. Are you ready for this? I am a Leo rising, a Leo sun, and an Aquarius moon. So basically, I'm a mess, is what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding. And that stops my knowledge of astrology right there. No, that's not entirely true. I'm very interested in astrology. But I find right now that I'm fascinated by so many topics and so many things that, like, I'm almost overwhelming myself. So I need to sort of pick something. And so I think what I'm going to dive into is numerology. Numbers are my thing. What are some of the things that you guys are interested in? I mean, I know, Tracy, you do everything. But, like, you know, astrology, numerology, crystals, meditation, yoga, journaling, manifesting. What are you guys into? Whoops. Holy, did you see that? One moment, please. We had a whole bunch on the floor. So I will show you the 4 that actually fell on the floor here. Yeah, no, I don't do yoga either. I mean, please. So the first card that we have out is number 25. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. Number 25, Wishing on a Star. And I sort of feel like that's what I was talking about earlier that night that I had done, that I sort of made a wish on a star that I was going to take my life back. So that's a very appropriate card. The message on the bottom is, it is time for you to dream again. Go ahead, make a wish. It just might come true. Beautiful card. The next card that came out is Share Your Gifts. Look at the image on that card. It's a glorious purple color. I love purple. Share your gifts. Get ready to see movement when you choose to share your gifts. Love it. Hardened heart. Don't allow this situation to make you bitter, cold, or aloof. Right? We always have to be grateful, right? We always must be grateful and thankful, because there's something to always be grateful for. And the last one is, look, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to let you love the card for a moment because it's gorgeous. Can you guys see that? Look at the colors in there. I mean, there's like a creamy white. There's a yellow, a sort of like an olive green, a sage green, a pink, a violet. I mean, they're almost like a royal blue. It's just stunning. Card number 68. It says boon, B-O-O-N. Heaven is rushing in and showering you with blessings. Open your heart to receive. Right? I think Spirit was talking to us. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I absolutely adore you guys. I appreciate you supporting me and, listening and sharing your own personal, experiences. I know it's not easy. As Tracy said, it is, it requires a lot of bravery to put yourself out there. And I appreciate it very much. I hope you all have a wonderful Monday, the rest of the day, wherever you may be. And I thank each and every one of you for all of your support. I'm grateful. I'm going to be here all week. Haha. I'm going to do some daily oracle pulls throughout the week, so tune in for that. And I may pop on later on in the week and do another live, and maybe we'll just chat something a little more upbeat, a little more positive. So thank you again, everybody. Blessings. See you in the chats.